All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Let's take a few seconds to let everybody settle down, and we're going to start. Can we get our presentation to display?
They are trying.
OK, awesome. Hi, everyone. All right, so thank you for joining us here today. We're thrilled to be here with you. And we want to welcome you on our presentation around reinventing the customer service with agentic voice bots. Before we dive into our presentation, let us introduce ourselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dominik Smolarek, Principal Software Engineer in GenAI.org and at Pega. And day-to-day, I build agentic voice bots.
And my name is Julka Cichosz. I am Principal Technical Program Manager at Pega. I lead cross-functional initiatives in our organization, many of them around generative AI. And for the past few months, together with Dominik, we've been working on the voice bot you're about to see today.
So basically, I'm the one who builds the voice bot.
And I am the one who asks all the mandatory, annoying questions until it gets to production.
Yep, and she's very good at it.
Thank you.
But before we dive into the world of agentic voice bot, let's ground ourselves in the reality of customer service today. And honestly, that picture is not great.
So, customers in US on average spend on hold from 2 to 5 minutes just waiting for them to call in. Then, most often, they need to repeat themselves to multiple agents. And on top of that, the still 1 in 3 interactions ends without their issue being resolved.
And the problems don't stop there. After hours, you're often left with no support or a self-service that can handle only a narrow set of scenarios. Basically, press 1 if your problem is on the list, press 2 if you've accepted it isn't.
And those people answering the calls are under real pressure. The turnover rate for customer service runs between 40 to 45% a year, which says really a lot about how demanding this job is.
And all that adds up to an enormous business cost. Companies globally spend about $500 billion on customer service calls alone.
So these are the customer service challenges that it faces today. But how did we at Pega even got to talking to you about agentic voice bots? So a little bit about our history. We've started with IVRs, so really classical functionality of press 1 for support, press 2 for billing, very mechanical, no real understanding. Then we moved on to rule-based chatbots. These were really great for frequently asked questions, highly available, so they could inform you, but still couldn't resolve anything for you. Next up, something interesting happened. Suddenly, we were able to understand natural language, so our voice assistants. They still couldn't take an action, but could support human agent during real-time calls, which were game changer for them. And now, agentic voice bots, which not only answer the question, not only assist the agent, but they can actually do the thing for you, end-to-end, owning the outcome on their own in many cases.
And what you will see today, we firstly showcased last year as part of the demo of Blueprint during our annual flagship conference, Pega World. And Blueprint is a tool that converts ideas and business requirements into applications quickly because it uses AI, of course. And then we created a completely new application from scratch, live on stage, and then demoed it with the voice chat, in channel. And the experience was excellent. We, since then, invested a lot in the voice approach, and we continue to evolve it.
That was really great.
Yep. But before we dive deeper, let's start with a question that sounds simple, but actually isn't. What does agentic actually mean? It's one of those terms everybody knows it confidently until being asked about the definition.
Yes, but luckily we do have a definition from Hugging Face that actually really well describes what we've built. So they say AI agents are programs where LLM outputs control the workflow. But what does it mean in practice? So think about traditional bot. You ask a question, it gets you an answer, and this is basically the end of your interaction. With AI agents, it's different. Again, it not only answer or assist, it actually does the thing for you. So it can look up your appointment details or your account details or schedule an appointment for you. And at the end, it can summarize everything it did and get it back to you for a confirmation. So it's not only making you, giving you these answers, but actually decides using LLM at every step of this interaction.
And that's the key shift. In a traditional chatbot, the developer hardcodes the logic, the intent detection based on the natural language processing and training data with fixed set of responses. In an agentic system, on the other hand, the LLM drives the execution. It calls APIs, calls tools, reasons, all in pursuit of the goal defined by end user at the runtime. And what's more, it also holds the context of the conversation so that it knows what was said 2 minutes earlier. And one more thing, when something is too complex or too sensitive, it knows also when to hand off to a human. And now, let us quickly show you what are the core building blocks of the agentic voice bot.
So this is a very high-level view of our voice bot. Starting from the left, the customer is calling over the phone. Their voice hits the telephony layer. It handles everything on the call level, and also it has two critical for us capabilities, speech-to-text and text-to-speech. So customer's voice gets converted into text that then our system can process, and when the generated response gets back, it again gets converted into spoken audio.
And from there, it goes to Pega Agent, and an agent in this context is a platform functionality that lets our clients configure model, prompt, tools, and guardrails. And voice bot is only one of many, many ways agents can be used in Pega. And here, the LLM is responsible for knowing what is the intent of customer, what does the customer actually want, and what should happen next. And Pega Agent is responsible for the tool calls, for case processing, so the actual work. So Pega Agent is responsible, for example, for actual booking of the flight.
Exactly. And so this is, again, the high-level simplified view of how our voice bot works today. But getting here, we faced a couple of challenges. And we think that being open about those challenges, and especially how we handled those challenges, is where the real value for you is today from this presentation. So let's take a look at those challenges.
And the first challenge we hit was the long response time. And agentic systems are inherently slower than traditional chatbots because they need to call tools, reason, iterate before responding.
Right, and the thing is that in the text chatbot, this is very normal to kind of wait a couple of seconds. But even there, you get the little spinning wheel that lets you know that something is happening in the background. And for voice, the couple seconds of delay just simply feels off.
Indeed, even a few seconds of silence feels dramatic, as if the bot is rethinking its life choices.
Yes, and this is why we needed to rethink how we design it, the user experience. So we added a little filler phrases like, OK, I'm processing your request, or clicking into the keyboard sounds, just enough to let the people that calls in know that nothing broke in the meantime and we are just processing in the background.
And the second obstacle was something we called agent locking. Here's what happened. The customer says something, and the agent starts processing. But in the meantime, the customer is saying something else. But the agent is still processing the previous message and responds, I cannot provide an answer right now. And a moment later, it responds to the first thing, ignoring entirely the follow-up.
And the root cause here? The agent was processing synchronously, without really good way to handle interruptions during the conversation. And the real conversations doesn't work like that. People think out loud and talk over each other and change their mind mid-sentence and basically don't wait politely for their turn. And neither your voice bot should expect them to if you want to make this experience really natural.
So finally, the third problem we faced is the trust gap in customer service, which is the most unforgiving environment for AI failure. And here's why.
So when people call in for the support, they are already frustrated. Something has definitely gone wrong. The emotions are high. And when they cannot get the good answer or the answer gets delayed, this is not only making them more annoyed or more frustrated. This usually can cost them real money or make them miss a flight or lose a claim. And on top of that, when they cannot interrupt the bot they are talking to or correct it in the meantime, they do feel trapped in this interaction. And as we all know, the trust is really easy to lose. So one bad experience like that with your product can really overshadow the 10 really good ones they've had in the past.
Exactly. So the bottom line is you can't ship a voice bot that is only capable. It needs to be also trustworthy.
Right. So now, you've heard about the challenges, a little bit about our history, but now how did we actually resolve those challenges with our implementation?
So we introduced the orchestrator pattern. It's an additional layer that drives the conversation. It calls multiple agents. What's important, these are specialized agents, for example, for knowledge, for case processing, for data, and any other needed, so that none of them becomes a bottleneck. And secondly, we introduced the interruption mechanism so that the voice bot can now handle a new message while still processing the previous one. What's more, we also use some filler phrases and small acknowledgements, just enough to make the conversation feel more natural.
Exactly. So just to recap a little bit, as Dominik mentioned, and as you can see on the slide, first, customer calls in. They want to book a flight to Rome. Cool. Orchestrator takes this request and routes it to, in that case processing agent for further processing. Now, customer changes their mind. They want to go to Paris instead. To handle that properly, orchestrator takes this request, sends this to the same agent to update its context and reprioritize it with the previous request. In the meantime, orchestrator also sends this filler phrase that it's processing the request to kind of keep this natural flow of the conversation. Then customer asks about cancellation policy. A little bit unrelated, it goes to a different agent, in that case, knowledge agent, for parallel processing. And when this whole thing is done, the orchestrator consolidates the answers that are still relevant to customer intent here. So in that case, it omits the answer to booking a flight to Rome because it was kind of overwritten by booking a flight to Paris. And it gets back to customer with all these answers.
Yes, and this additional layer also gives us one more possibility to use the right model for the right job. For example, the orchestrator needs a lightweight, fast model because it's responsible only for routing to an agent and generates the final response. On the other side of this road, there is the case processing agent, which requires much heavier processing, and for that, for example, Claude Sonnet is perfect.
Exactly. So now we want to show you how our voice bot works in practice. And let's actually see if it can plan a perfect trip for me, as we asked at the beginning of this presentation.
Hello, please wait while I connect you to an agent. Good morning. Thank you for calling Travel Mesh. How can I help you today?
Hi, I'd like to book a flight from Krakow to Barcelona, please.
One moment.
Can you actually change this from Warsaw to Barcelona? I'm already in Warsaw.
I'm still working on that booking request for you, Julia. As soon as the next step comes through, I'll update it to Warsaw to Barcelona. Got it, Julia. What date and time would you like to depart from Warsaw to Barcelona?
I'd like to depart on June 11th around 10 a.m.
One moment. Thanks for your patience. Almost done. I found 3 flights on June 11th from Warsaw to Barcelona. Ryanair at 8 a.m. for 145.50, Lufthansa at 8 a.m. for 189.99, and LOT Polish Airlines at 8 a.m. for 156.75. Which one would you like?
The first one sounds great.
One moment. Almost there, just a moment. Excellent, Julia. I've selected the Ryanair flight for you. Is this booking for you?
Yes, it's for me.
One moment. Great, Julia. Which class of service?
Like the business class.
One moment. Perfect, Julia. Business class is set. Would you like to add change to your booking?
No, that's fine.
Processing that now. You're all set, Julia. Your Ryanair business class flight to Barcelona on June 11th, 2026 at 8 a.m. is booked, and your booking reference is F2042. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Yeah, I'd like to know what travel insurance options do you have for this trip?
Let me check that for you. Let me check on that. Thanks for your... Almost done. For this trip, we offer basic protection for €5, standard protection for €10, and premium protection for €15. Basic covers delays and missed connection help. Standard adds cancellation and baggage coverage, and premium gives the highest cancellation, delay, baggage, and emergency support coverage.
Cool, I'll think about this. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you.
And that's about our demo. So what it showed, actually, that with the real architecture, our voice bot could handle pretty much a lot. So if we again ask the question if it can plan the perfect trip for us, we think
Yes.
definitely yes. Yeah. And here is why.
So it was a real conversation. The bot handled interruptions, mid-call changes, and parallel lookups without losing the context. It was a conversation driven by customer, but not by the script.
Exactly. And which is important, it's available 24/7. So our human agents can actually be freed up to handle really sensitive cases requiring their empathy. So things that really matter.
And what's more, every interaction hits the same standard, so that when the bot doesn't know how to handle something or something is too complex, it can hand off to a human agent so that no customer is left with no support.
Right. And as we know, and we already said, trust is really easy to lose and hard to gain. So the voice bot is getting back to you every time before it actually acts upon your request to make sure that this is the required action. This is what you want to do. So there is no surprises for the caller.
And all what we've shown today makes a difference between a nice demo and a production system. And our system can handle messy real-world cases, keeping the customer in control, building trust over time.
And this is actually something that you can test yourself on our booth. We have the Pega booth in the main stage?
Main building, yeah.
Main building, yes. And you can try this and the blueprint we mentioned during the presentation. So come, play around, give us the feedback. We have amazing Pega crew that will be able to answer your questions there.
We invite you warmly.
And now, thank
Thank
you.
you.
And we'd like to take your questions. We have the question. Do we have the mic for the questions? Okay, so we're going to wait for the mic, and we're going to get the question. Awesome.
Any questions?
I saw only one hand so far. So
Do you have any hands on?
yes,
Yes? Mike? Yes.
right there. From the left, it will be, I think, easier. Yeah, there. Exactly. Thank you. Ready for questions?
The juicy part.
Hi, I have two questions, not
Yes.
two questions, but two kind of, like maybe comments. One, Ryanair doesn't have a business class. And second, the pricing would change if I would take a business class. So the agent didn't kind of, it worked, it didn't work it?
So this is the demo. This wasn't a production use case yet. So you're completely right.
This application was created solely by me just for the purpose of this presentation. And I can tell you that the propositions of these flights and trains are just mocked with using AI. I just sent to AI in the background what you choose during what you say, and propose some options. Of course, you're right, Ryanair doesn't have business, good catch, but that
Nevertheless, this uses our VoiceBot implementation under the hood. So everything that is implemented on the Pega layer, it calls the LLMs, is just using the different data sets.
Yes, and in a production system, the workflow that is underneath would be much more complex. It would definitely take into consideration if the carrier has the option of business class or not.
Yeah, but great comment.
Yeah.
Good catch. More questions? Okay, we have the question in the back. The mic is coming.
Okay, so you mentioned that this bot can handle situations where empathy is needed, but it sounded very robotic. I'm wondering if you plan to develop it more in the direction where it would sound more like a human, because it might help with empathy.
So 2 parts. Let me answer the empathy one. For the empathy high cases, it will most probably hand off to a human. That was the point about the empathy. But you're right, this sounds pretty robotic.
But I can also tell that you can choose the voice. So basically, our vendor has literally thousands of voices, and you can just try out and choose the one that you want.
So there are the ones that sounds more natural, there are the ones that sounds like this one. We like this one.
There is warm and charming, for example. I think it's Charles warm and charming.
That's true.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
I don't see any other hands.
Oh, I see 2.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the second row and then the 5th row, I think, yeah.
I'd like to ask about the data, because
Yes.
for booking flight, you need to fill some form with name and surname and etc.
Yep.
And where this bot gets this data from? We have to pass this data through the talk, or
Maybe I'll
just
take this
log
one.
to-
So we used here a small simplification. In a standard way we implemented, there is the very first step that you have is the verification, identification and verification. Just like you call a bank and somebody is asking you for a maiden name and so on. We just skipped this part, first of all, for the sake of time, and secondly, we just didn't want you, because this is also for the demo that we have in the booth, we didn't want to give you any PIIs. So this was our intention to skip it for that. But also, this part is driven by the workflow. So for example, if you are a customer already, Pega will know what of what you have already, what was your previous trip and so on, and what is your data, so that you wouldn't have to actually give anything more. Just like you log into a website and book a flight, for example, this would work the same way.
So basically, when you design the application for such booking, you will need to define the workflow that then has set of fields that needs to be populated. And this will, of course, match the provider, because the fields differ between the providers of the flights.
Yep.
But this will basically be agnostic to it and then require mandatory fields between which provider you choose.
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Also, maybe to add something more, just to give context, Pega as a platform is a low code. So basically, this application is just an example. Our clients have like wide variety of needs. So for example, banks, insurance companies. So this is just an example. So and client, it's a low code, so the client needs to build their own application or choose application, strategic application.
Yes.
Thanks. So the data about customers are stored on some database, or
You mean the PII? So like personal identification information?
Yeah.
We're not storing them. So in general, we can point you to a page that we have like hosted as Pega about like handling such data that is handled like same way across our use cases. Generally speaking, we do the PIA masking. And so this data is not being even passed to the LLM. We're not storing them anywhere.
Yes, and the verification that I mentioned is done in a programmatic way, so that only Pega knows actually what you put there.
Thanks.
Cool.
The prompter says that we have 1 more minute.
Minute and 20 seconds. It's a lot of time. Let's go.
I have a question on the backend. Does it send requests to already existing LLMs like OpenAI and Cloudy, or is it a custom LLM that you've created for the platform? And as a continuation to her question, if it's the existing LLMs, what kind of data is accessed to the LLMs for future training?
So basically, it's the first one. We are using the great providers, as mentioned on this one, GPTs like Anthropic models. For what do we send actually to the LLM? We send the more of a structure of the data. So we send, of course, the prompt of what we want to do here and for LLM to reason around this. But then the actual information, as mentioned on the previous question, of you as a customer are not being sent there. What we do send is, hey, we need this is the field that got populated, right? Not the actual data in this field.
Yes.
Anything to add?
This topic is quite complex, and we invite you to open our documentation, and there are even a few really nice documents we checked today in the morning, and we can.
But initially, did it answer anyhow your question? Okay, cool. Awesome. So our time is off, but again, we invite you all to approach our booth. We'll try to handle everything that you have in mind to ask, and we can again point you to our Pega documentation, really well document, especially around the data residency and stuff, because this is what worries people around AI.
Thank you very much.